Welcome to the Waiting List podcast. Tell us a story.
It's like many things you start building from scratch.
And then I'm like, wait, I really do like watches because
You've seen so many watches that makes you excited.
I think I really do like watches.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to see if you are a watch enthusiast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Waiting List podcast. This is Jacqueline here, joined by my co-hosts Daniel and Lung Lung. I'm very excited for today because it's an honor to be a part of the Waiting List family. I've listened to all the episodes and it's just really exciting for me. And B, and a much more important note, is what better way to get started than with a guest who I'm sure, many people in the watch community are already familiar with. He is someone who has become synonymous with the Rolex Datejust, a watch geek with impeccable taste, someone who isn't afraid to speak his mind on matters, and someone I looked to when I was first diving into the world of vintage watches. He is Christian Jerome, the founder and curator of Theo and Harris, and welcome to the Waiting List, Christian.
Thank you all so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
That was an awesome intro. First take.
Yeah.
It was like,
fantastic
yeah,
job.
that was better than me, than I've ever done.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for cutting me some slack.
You got a hype team here.
Don't hype it up.
Raising standards.
Yep.
No, we're gonna have to up our game, mate. We can't just fuck
No,
around.
I
like
was
we do
just
normally.
like, Dan, after the show, Dan's gonna be like, just cut that whole shit out. Just cut that bit out.
Alrighty, we're really happy to have you again, and we have a lot to get through. So what's going to happen is we're probably going to split this into 2 episodes, and if you're ready, we can just get straight on to the first question.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so I obviously know a lot about you already. To those who are listening, I basically watched every video of Theo and Harris on YouTube. But to those people who don't know you as much as I do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? Where you're from, where you studied, and what got you into watches?
Absolutely. So so Theo and Harris today is a vintage watch shop, and at this point, kind of a media consultancy, like an agency for big watch brands. Right. We just rolled that business out recently, and I'll talk more about that later. But I started the company in college, really with no real aim or no real great grand hope, just as a way to pass time that I thought was more productive than smoking weed. That was really it. But the company, I think I found my passion in watches pretty early on. I kept on running the company because I genuinely enjoyed it. And then by the time that I realized that I was at a crossroads of career, to continue being an entrepreneur or to do something more formal, like go to law school, which is what I was intending on doing, I looked at the company and said, wait, this actually might be something. And that was about 5.5 years ago. And, now I say this all the time, but now it really is a dream. And I'm just so happy to be doing what I do, but it's not necessarily how it started.
Incredible. I can really relate to that because I'm currently in my last year of college, and this is the time when you really, buckle down and you start looking at the career options that you might have laying in front of you. And if you were to tell me, if I were in your shoes right now and to continue doing something that I did as a hobby throughout college and turn that into a professional career, I would be really nervous about doing that.
Yeah, it kind of leads me to a question. Christian, did you ever feel the pressure of getting a proper job from your peers, your family?
Oh my God. Yeah.
And then how did you overcome that and say what went into your decision-making process?
It's a great question. Yes, the answer is so. Yeah, my family is super generationally very blue collar. Excuse me. Hold on.
Yeah, we got you.
We're good.
1 second. Audio settings. This happens sometimes. Preferences. It'll be fixed in 1 second.
Long can work her magic. We can edit all of this out.
Speaker. Okay, I think we're good. Are we good?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's good. It's clear.
Yep, good. Sometimes it goes in and out. I don't know why. So the answer, Daniel, yeah, absolutely. I come from a pretty humble background. Most of my family, very, very blue collar people, and the idea of having an educated, son, and not just son, but grandson, cousin, was really have like these super these white collar kind of aspirations. I wanted to go to Columbia Law and be the first person in my family to do something like that, and it just really all fell apart very, very quickly. My dad understood and supported really, really early. My mom wanted to absolutely murder me. We went through a period of probably about a year at a minimum where we really didn't speak. Obviously,
wow.
on her end, out of total love. She was just being a good mom. But I was pretty convicted. I thought that I had good enough reason and understanding to make the decision. So yeah, it was pretty much a war in my family.
So I was going to ask, like, at that point when you made that decision, where were you at with Theo and Harris? Like, what results had you got to?
Oh, virtually none. Virtually, I think virtually none.
Oh,
I was
wow.
working literally all day, every day. Maybe I was making, $1,800 a month, maybe $1,100. It was not a livelihood. It just wasn't. But I just had, I don't know, I just had a gut feeling that it was going to work. I graduated college. So I made the decision about October, to pursue Theo and Harris. This is senior year. Made the decision in October. Graduated in May, and it wasn't until the following October that the company had its first successful adult month. So it was basically a full year after I made the decision.
Okay, so I went to. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I'm just curious. Are you an only child?
I have a younger sister.
So did you never say to your parents, like, okay, don't worry about me, like, focus on her?
That just wasn't gonna. Yeah. There was just no way that was gonna happen. No way. Yeah. And my parents are lovely.
Yeah.
And they're amazing supportive. My mom runs my office now. I hired her 2 years ago. So now she's all team TNH. But no, in the beginning, she literally said, "I wish you had never started this company." And she was right. She really was right. She was wrong, but it was coming from the right place.
Mm-hmm.
So you must have had some difficult conversations with yourself when you're going into a very good prospective job as being a lawyer, right? With a guaranteed income, and it sounds like from your background, that was very desired. All that stuff that parents will say, you've worked like 20 years to get this, and now what are you doing? Like, you're throwing it away. We know better than you because we've had more life years than you, and all this kind of stuff.
Totally.
It must take a lot to go against that.
I was at a law firm for an internship in June before senior year. It was a really prestigious law firm. One of our managing partners was actually of counsel on Proposition 8, which was the federal legalization of gay marriage at the time. So I was at a really important law firm. It was huge, and that was like that. My mom said finally, and my family said, okay, this whole watch thing is in the past. He's at this really important law firm. They made offers to everyone. We were kids. We were literal children, and they were making us L1 offers to make $225,000, as 19-year-old kids, but the whole bullshit 9 yards, and everyone was like, okay, this is great. It's it. You did it. The watches are done. It's a hobby. And I was like, no.
Whew, finally.
That's the case. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Would you be able to work for someone again?
I think about it all the time. I think about it. So the answer is probably yes, but I would just need basically full creative control. But yes, I mean, I don't have authority issues at all. I grew up in a family with a ton of authority. I have a ton of uncles, and there's no authority issue. But I would need creative control.
Right.
Creative control. Yeah. Which, you're very good at doing, because just from an audience perspective, so I started watching your channel for a year now. I would say a little bit over a year. And that's when I basically first started researching about watches. And just within the last year alone, the amount of brand partnerships and storytelling content that you and Anna and Michael have produced is, I mean, the content you are bringing out now is so different than 2 years ago, like when I went back to watch those videos.
Yeah, if you really look, and not that you have had to, because it's more on the business end, but if you look at the landscape on YouTube, I'm actually a pretty bad watch YouTuber. Watch YouTubers, it's kind of funny competitively. They get a ton more views. Their videos are very clickbaity. They're very, very clickable, and their YouTube revenue is higher than ours is. The difference is that they're not really building businesses. Their YouTube revenue may be higher, but they're not actually being very tactful. Nothing's actually being built. So we have a really good YouTube. It's not like a fantastic YouTube, but we have an infrastructure, right? We have a company with multiple facets. So when brands are looking to do partnerships, they won't even consider really doing a partnership with a YouTuber. There's just nothing there. There's nothing there. So I feel bad for a lot of those guys because they thought that was the path to success, and they have totally blown us by. We only have 100,000 subscribers. Some of our competitors have 150, 200, 400. And yet they don't understand it. They don't. How didn't it work for me? I have 400,000 subs. They have 100,000. Why aren't the brands coming to them, to us, if I'm putting on my shoes? And it's just not all about that. So from a YouTuber perspective, we're decent. We're good. But from pitching ourselves as an actual media agency for these brands, we're doing a much better job than almost anybody, with exception on some fronts, and we can talk about that later. But we're doing a really, really good job, and it's probably the first time I could say I'm proud. I'm truly proud of the company. Daniel.
So I want to ask, just go back a little bit and ask, as a student, like you're spending all this time, so is it eating into your time that you're getting laid? And then also, that's a very important question. Sex education goes really important in university or college. And then,
what's funny is people always say, like, why become successful? And I always said, really to get laid, right? The whole reason
that is the reason why we all get watches for guys, so that we can get laid.
22, 23 was like the first year where I said, oh, wow, like this is disproportionately successful. And the problem was no one cared. No one my age gave a shit about money or about anything. And here I am like, wait, time out. Isn't this cool? Aren't I? No. I dress like an old man. It's just not attractive. So now when I go out, I wear tie-dye shirts, and I wear my I don't wear my Bulgari.
Oh my God. I want to know.
Yeah. Sorry, that wasn't actually my question as well, because I had a second part.
Yeah, I was like, was that the question?
Well, I answered. So,
like, the main part of the question was, how did you start it with almost no funds? Like, as a student, it's pretty like a difficult time.
$9,400.
Yeah, like you're spending most of that on alcohol. Let's be honest, right? So
I know. Yeah, so it was $9,400. Basically I went to my parents and said, hey, do I have any, like, I know I have some like birthday money that like Poppy, my grandpa, like uncles, aunts, I know there's an account somewhere, and they were like, yeah, here's $9,400, do with it what you will, just don't blow it, and I started the company. So there's really no reason. It's almost like nonsensical that we ended up with the ability to build an inventory. And a lot of that isn't just because we were good at it. A lot of it is because I reinvested every dollar into inventory, and you guys, as you guys know, prices have changed so much. So what I may have owned at the time of, let's say I was able to make the 10,000 into 100,000, even if I never sold another watch, that 100 became worth, let's say 300, because of just the change in value on date justs or on just things like that. So yeah, while we've done very well on actual sales, we've done equally as well on genuinely just buying inventory and holding it. It's just the truth.
No, right.
I actually have two questions. So one is regarding YouTube. So I watch a lot of these makeup YouTube tutorials, right? And there's a lot of drama and like bitching between the girls. So for the watch community, is it very supportive? So when someone with say 400,000 followers goes to you and is like, hey, I need help, I'm not making money outside of YouTube, do you actually help each other?
No.
Long story short,
Yeah.
no.
Because
He wanted to say
if we were
yes.
all-
He wanted to
Yeah.
say
if we
yes.
were all intelligent, if we were in a room
Yeah.
with a couple of intelligent people and we all said, okay, let's do X and Y because, at the end of the day, this will work out for our businesses, I think we'd be more open. But these people are not doing well for a reason. They're just not tactful, period, end. They're not very smart. So
All
they
right.
can't really have a conversation with you that says, hey, let's this is my plan. And it will do this for the both of us. They don't really think like that. They're not plagued by a lack of success. They genuinely earned it. It's the truth.
Okay.
And look at like, comparatively, I know I'm making fun of watch YouTubers, but look at like other brands. Look at Hodinkee, at Block to Watch. They've done very well. That wasn't luck, right? And they dwarf us. So it's not like I'm not pretending like, oh, we're the big boy in the room. Just happens to be on the watch YouTube end, we absolutely are the most mature. But if you look at other areas, no, we're young, we're scrappy, we do really, really well with what we have. And in many ways we do better, but not in all ways. Just on YouTube, we're the best. But that's from a business perspective.
Okay. And so my second question is, so you reinvested every single dollar in the beginning, right? So how long did it take before you actually paid yourself?
Oh, years. I mean, geez, 4 years, and not for a lack of money, just because I didn't need money. What did I need money for? I lived at home. I eventually bought a car. I didn't need money. I just didn't. I would, ride my card for dates and things like that. And what else did I need? I didn't need $1.
Yeah.
Are you trying to convince us that it sounds like you're trying to convince us that you actually were going on dates. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't believe it.
I should have said,
Yeah.
I needed to pay for bad dates.
Especially with the
more
top
like it.
light you're wearing today, I have my doubts.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have a question as well. So you mentioned you have $9,800, right, to start the company, which also would involve, I don't know, well, it's not a lot of money is the main thing, especially when you're talking about stocking watches inventory. Like if somebody wanted to go into that kind of field now, do you think it's possible to do at 9,800? Like what advice would you give? It's pretty hard,
how
right?
old are you? What are your circumstances? Like if you're a kid, yeah, it's possible. It is. You buy vintage Omegas, you build up, like you can do it. But no, as an adult, if you have any level of pressure on you, no, don't do it. Pick a different career. Because it'll take so long to go from 9,400 to where you need to be. So long. But yeah, if you're in college, if you're an adult and you want to do it on the side then that's fine.
Yeah.
But no, if you think that you can quit your job and become a watch dealer with $9,400 in cash, you'll probably end up. You're probably gonna end up. Selling hand jobs. You're going to end up selling hand jobs. I couldn't think of another thing to say.
No, I love it. I love it how he said go from 9,800 to wherever you need to be. And in my mind, I was thinking, you're talking millions. Like you didn't say millions.
Yeah,
but you're talking.
Look at my competitors. Everyone that I compete against started with a partner that backed them with a couple of $1 million.
Yeah.
So everyone. So most of the guys that run the companies didn't start with that kind of cash. Most of them started like regular guys, just regular, normal, scrappy guys. But their partners backed the shit out of them. And I just didn't have that partner, and everyone thinks that my dad funded my company. It's just, I don't care what they think. It's just so categorically untrue. I think my dad wished he funded the company, but he didn't, yeah, it's yeah.
What you're really saying though, your most supportive person was your mom.
Yeah, wait till she hears it. Every time I do a podcast, people ask about my mom, and I always tell. And every time she goes, "Why do you always have to remind everyone that I was brutal about this?" And I'm like, "Well, because it's the fucking true story."
Right. But like I had a little look at your website before we did the podcast. I looked at it yesterday, and I saw like there's now. Well, you've mentioned like 5 people that are involved in this thing. Maybe there's more and you didn't put them down. But
Yeah, it's
how
five.
how difficult was it to find the right people, the right mix to do this?
Talk about luck. I mean, luck. So not difficult, but pure luck. I mean, what, Anna, who I was my employee number one, was she was in mock trial with me. We were, I was practicing to be a lawyer. We were together. I mean, she was there from day one. What were the odds that I would meet the most scrappy, person that would basically learn how to use a camera? She had no camera experience, for the company. That was pure luck. I encouraged it and I paid for it, but still, that doesn't buy character and that doesn't buy skill. So that's luck. My mother happens to be an extremely organized and efficient person. That's luck. So she manages everything about the business. Oh, she could steal every dollar I have and I wouldn't even know. She could. I have never signed a check for the company. Like, she could literally rob everything. But I'm lucky to have someone, a mother that I can trust, right? Not everyone can say that. Michael, who's now helping me run all of our ad partnerships. Michael happens to be this perfect balance of film enthusiast like I am and watch geek, which is a rare mixture. Usually it's kind of one or the other are leaning, but we are equally both. I mean, it's a lot of luck. I'd love to tell you that I had to work really hard and interview a million people. I've never interviewed anyone. Never. Like,
I bet you were really popular with that lady's parents as well, taking her out from the lawyer job and to become a YouTuber as well. Like, you talk about just doing it to yourself. You go and do it to somebody else. I bet
her mother hates me too. I was like, you were going to be a fucking lawyer. Why did you end up with this? We sent you from California to New Jersey to go to school. You come back. Now you're a fucking watch dealer? How did this happen?
Yeah. They probably said, like, look at this guy. This is what happens when you smoke weed.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish that, like, I were in my freshman or sophomore year when you at that time, like, Theo and Harris would already have been like 3 or 4 years old. I would have totally went and like interned for you guys over the winter or like spring break.
Cool. I would have hired you. Would have had you.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So going back to gears, I was wondering, many people have been wondering about this through your comments and everything. So can you explain to everyone, like, why the name of Theo and Harris?
Yeah, it just sounds cool. There is no Theo, there is no Harris. I was in college when I started the company, and I'm a really big jazz fan, so I love Thelonious Monk. His "I'm Confessing That I Love You" is one of the best songs, I think, of all time. And that was always the song that I would listen to when I thought I was going to meet the girl of my dreams on the subway. And I remember I'm thinking of this company I'm going to start, blah, 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 blah. I'm listening to a lot of Monk. And I said, Thelonious. If I was black, I would love to be named Thelonious, but a white kid could never pull it off. And I said, wait.
Or a Chinese.
I always said if I adopted a black son, I'd name him Thelonious. Just it would be the coolest thing in the world. He could be like a Ralph Lauren model, Anyway, I said, that sounds rich. That sounds cool. Let's do that. I knew if I named it, after me, it's very hard to sell it. You know what I mean? A whole bunch of things. So I was thinking about that stuff as a kid. I want to build something that's much larger than I am, which I wasn't able to do really until this year, until I started removing myself from the company. But meaning the front of the company. I'm still every day I work for it, but I'm trying to remove myself from the front. But yeah, that wasn't, in the beginning, it was just, I can't name it Christian. I can't name it Zeron. I can't name it anything like that. Stupid,
Right. That's why your Instagram name for a while was Thelonious Jerome, right?
Yeah, it was. It was Thelonious Zeron for years. Really? And then I said, what? It probably makes no sense. People are looking for Christian Zeron on Instagram and they couldn't find me. So I was like, this is stupid,
Right. Do you think you're gonna name it like for your son when you have a son?
Again, it's hard for a little Italian kid to pull off the name Thelonious. It's just difficult, I mean, Theo's cool, but I wouldn't want to name my kid Theo. I want him to be Thelonious. Like, that's the coolest thing in the world,
If once that happens, like, and he's not a black kid, he's just going to get the shit kicked out of him at school. Like,
Yeah. And then
just
he's going to
don't say
fight
that.
back, and then I'm going to
Yeah.
have to go to the school. I don't have
Yeah.
time for that. I don't have time for it.
Yeah, exactly. But just like spinning off a little bit, a lot of people, it's like when I watch your channel, I see it as like very informative and educational. But as a young person, where were you getting the knowledge from? To research, to do the
It's a great
videos.
question. Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Hodinkee, right? I mean, I was so influenced by Hodinkee completely.
Yeah.
I to be totally transparent, I don't read Hodinkee anymore. I don't read many places really. I actually don't read a single watch blog regularly, not a single one. I only read watch blogs when they have an information that I'm looking to reference. Period. I don't, the only things I read leisurely are actually law journals, which ironically enough, so I know, right? How hysterical, so I don't read it anymore, but I will always love Hodinkee. I'll always be, kind of indebted to them, even though they did nothing for me. In fact, I think that they actually go out of their way now to not acknowledge my existence. When I emailed them during COVID, because they posted this bullshit, if you're in the watch industry and you're looking for help during COVID, here are ways we can help you. One of the things was put you on Watchville. And I emailed them and they were like, yeah, sorry, no space. I'm like, fuck you guys. Fuck you. Whatever. But, and I had to just smile and, pick my teeth up off the ground and put them back in and move on. But I love Hodinkee, so that was one of the big spots.
Right. Okay.
Interesting.
So another thing I was wondering about, going back to when you were saying, oh yeah, like you're getting the information from Hodinkee. One thing I've always been curious about, and you've spoken very publicly about your first watch and how much that means to you, your blue dial Datejust. But I always was curious, like, how was the acquisition process like? Like, I know that you went to a pop-up shop to buy it, but what screamed like Datejust? Where did the lust for a Datejust come from versus like an Omega?
It's a good question. I mean, so the very short version of a long story, and Jacqueline knows this, is I was in the mall by where I live, the Short Hills Mall in New Jersey, and Hodinkee at the time was doing a pop-up with Club Monaco. And they had some JLCs, some Memovox, some Submariners, GMTs, etc. And I went into the store, and I had mentioned watches to my parents before, but I went into the store and I never read as a kid, never. I mean, it never found me with a book. So when I was blabbering about watches, all this information, my mom couldn't believe that I knew so much about watches. She goes, where did you hear this? And I said, no, I read it. She goes, you read it? You don't read? You don't read. And I said, no, I told you I'm really into watches. So we're walking through the mall and she goes, oh, you need a watch. I said, I need a what? She goes, oh, you need a watch. You need to buy a watch because you're really into it. So you should get it. And I said, well, I don't know. At the time, I didn't really have any money, and she goes, no, we have money for you. Like we have money away. Like you could just use your money and buy a watch. I was like, fuck yeah, So my dad got his first Rolex at 40. And I remember that moment like it was yesterday. Like my dad never cries. My dad cried. It was like a big thing. It was a gift. My mom gave it to him as a gift. Wow. And back when a GMT was $3,700, which is very revealing, 2004, I guess. Anyway, a week later, I finally was looking for watches. The Datejust had clicked. I was looking at a linen and looking at a blue. And for whatever reason, I said, this blue is just talking to me. It's just singing to me. And I told my mom at the time it was $3,100, which now those watches are worth like $5,000. Not that it matters, but it's just crazy. Think about the change in the market. It's a big percentage, And I said, hey, can I do it? I want to do it. And she said, yep, here's my credit card. Like, that's it. The money's coming out of your account. If you want it, that's it. And she goes, you can't sell it because you can never sell it. I said, okay, let's do it. And I remember getting it in the mail and just like wanting to shit, like just being like shaking, like actually shaking as I held this watch. Like I couldn't even believe that I was owning a Rolex, And I think that more than any other period, I've owned that watch for 6 years. It was 6 years, late September. More than any other period in my life, it's those first year or two, where it's just synonymous. Every memory I have from those first 2 years is wearing that watch. And to this day, when I know I have a big day coming, whether that's a big date that I'm hopeful about, which never pans out well, or it's a big meeting that I know is going to be great, I never wear an inventory watch. I always wear my Datejust, right? So it's just kills me, man. It's just looking down at it. I'm like, yep, it was you, man. It was you. It was you from day one, which is kind of like cute, it's just kind of adorable.
I think your mum's like a funny character, man, because you say
I
like,
know.
you made like a point
I know. My mom's a fucking enigma.
You make a point of how, we didn't talk for the first year because she was like so unhappy with me, and she doesn't even think I could ever read a book.
Well, no, but I really didn't. I never read a book. I mean, I was not a good kid in school. I was always getting in trouble, always in detention, never reading, nothing. So when I expressed an interest in law, which I actually, did excel in, they were like, "Oh, this is great! Like, finally, holy shit! Who knew? The troubled kid would end up doing well? This is fucking nuts!"
Yeah, you could just see it, like going around the family, going around the neighborhood. Oh, he's into law school. He's into law school. It's law school. Like a few years later, going, fuck, he's really fucked us over now. He's not going to law.
Yeah.
He's become a fucking watch dealer. How do we even fucking say that now? Like nobody even knows what that is.
Two things. One, what you said before was, what did you think of the day? You used the word the day that you decided. And that's actually, I could point to one exact day where I said, wow, I've been talking a lot, but I can never turn back. And that was at a family party, or like distant family, whatever. And my mom said to a stranger, after I had made it so clear I wasn't going to law school, she said, well, Christian's going to law school. And I said to her, that was the final war. That was the final war. I said, you care what this moron, bumpkin stranger thinks about me? Who cares about her? I don't care about her. Why do you care? And that was the final, war before we didn't speak for a while. It was wild. And now on the second note, now going into life and dating and things like that. I hated the idea of being a watch dealer. I hate it. I think that there are few life forms on earth worse than a watch dealer. Used car dealer, maybe below them. I really do. And that's the truth. So anytime someone asked me, what do you do for a living? Even though at this point, even the company was doing super well, it didn't matter to me. The words, I sell watches, I'm a watch dealer, they tasted like urine coming out of my mouth, So it just reminded me of the guy that opens up his jacket, it was just brutal. So I told this to my dad. It's my dad one day. I said, I expressed my sentiment, and he said, well, then there's only one solution. Become something else than a fucking watch. Stop complaining about it. Just stop being a watch dealer. So now, of course, I still am a watch dealer, but the trajectory of the business is totally in media. And finally, not only do I love my job way more, but when someone asks, what do you do? I can say I consult major watch brands on media. Like, that's cool. Now I'm proud. Like, that makes me feel like me. But I'm a watch dealer.
I remember, I spoke to this dude, right? And he didn't call himself a watch dealer. He was on Instagram. He approached me. And I said to him, okay, what do you do? He said, wait, he always comes up with the same, I always get this, can we collab? Can we work together? So I said, oh, are you a dealer? He goes, no, I'm not a dealer. And I said, okay, so what do you do? He goes, I bring clients to boutiques. Yeah. And I get a cut from the sale if they buy. So I was like,
so you're a dealer with no fucking inventory is what you are.
Yeah. So I was like, you're a dealer. And he goes, he made a really posh term. It wasn't like watch curator. It was something like that though, where he didn't use the word dealer. Yeah, something like this, yeah. Like a VIP concierge service, yeah. And I was like, yeah. But really you're a dealer. Yeah. And he got so angry with me. He goes, I'm not a dealer. And I'm like, well, you're a dealer to me. And he goes, he goes, no, but I also take them to the art. And I was like, okay, so you're an art dealer as well. Yeah. And he was like, and I was like, you're the worst kind.
Does he also
nothing? I mean, I want it to be clear. I'm sure that watch dealers will listen to this, and I don't want, not that I give a shit about their feelings, but I don't want them to think that I'm shitting on a profession. I mean, listen, I'm speaking to them. You're the one laughing to the bank, right? Watch dealers can be, uneducated. It's fantastic. They could be making $500,000, $1 million a year. Salute. It's fantastic. I wish you nothing but the best. And listen, when you're driving your G-Wagon and you're gonna laugh at everybody else. Salute. You're gonna laugh at a lot of the people that have better jobs than you. So I'm not saying that there's nothing good about it. But for me, just wasn't it.
But you are touching on a point with of interest, right? It's actually a question I always have in my mind is why is there that stigma of being a watch dealer? Some collectors.
Because it makes absolutely no remark on your intelligence. That's why.
Yeah,
it says absolutely nothing about how smart you are. That's why.
Why can't people be collectors and dealers? Because once you say the dealer part, because people move their stock in and out as a collector. Yeah. So you are dealing to some extent. Why is it when you say that people go, oh, he's a dealer? And what is it about
Jacqueline and I were talking about this the other day. So I don't play that game. To me, being a collector and selling your watches is totally different. It just is. It just is. Where's the line drawn? I don't know. But, if it looks like shit and smells like shit and tastes like shit, it's probably shit. And you can tell a dealer. You can tell a collector that sells his watches because he gets bored. There's just, it's hard. I'll write an essay and codify it for you. But right now, I mean, so they just smell like shit. They smell like dealers.
All right. What's the next question?
Yeah. So, Christian, going back to what you said, right? You always hated the term watch dealer. Did that happen in the beginning as well? Or was there a point in time during Theo and Harris that you realized that you wanted to make the business something more?
No way. No, I think that what happened to me is what happens, kind of over generations really quickly. First you search for food and shelter, then you search for warmth, then you search for happiness. I did the same thing just over the course of 3 years. First, I wanted independence. I wanted to be free, not be forced to be a lawyer. Then I wanted to make a ton of money. And then I said, okay, I want to do what I want, which is create. That though, so it's just in the beginning, I didn't care where the freedom was going to come from. It just happened to be watches. I would have sold anything basically. I just didn't want to be forced to go into a corporate law office. Period.
I was laughing because would you have sold your mum?
At the time, maybe. Fantastic, live in, cook, and maid. Also, will break your balls constantly.
Right.
Right.
You know the memes on the internet, starter pack for basic bitch starter pack. So it'll be Lululemon pants, Starbucks, blah blah blah, right? So if you had to make a starter pack for a watch dealer, especially the ones you see on Instagram, so you said G-Wagon, right?
Look at his
What
face.
else would there what would they be
first
wearing?
Of all, the G-Wagon is the coolest fucking car. Okay. Period. It just so happens that all watch dealers love G-Wagons and buy them. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay, fine. I'm a little bit of a cliche. But it's a good question. You usually that's a good question.
What would they wear?
Well, I mean, they wear a lot of subs, I think, don't they? I don't know. You know what the funny thing is, and this is tangentially. First of all, it was a really good question. I'm just an idiot, so I can't answer it. We can try all together, but I'm just an idiot. But I was telling Jacqueline the other day, you've never met someone as removed from the industry that they make their living in. I am so removed. I don't want to be social. I don't need to go to meetups. Listen, with the free time that I have, which is plenty. It's not like, oh, I'm so busy. I hate those people. With the free time that I have, I like to be home with my family, hanging out with loved ones, maybe on a bad date, which is like, that's like great. So no, I you know, not a colleague, a friend and mentor who was originally a client of mine, you know, said the same. He said, you know, I have, meaning him, he has lost millions of dollars by not participating in this industry. He's in market research. And he goes, and you know what? That's fine. I like my life. And that's it's so me to a T. I hate those meetups. I really do.
You single-handedly.
And maybe I love some of them. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, it's, you know, whose dick is bigger, who's being most ambiguous about where their money comes from. Oh my God, who cares? Who gives a shit? I know it's not yours, and that's fine. I don't care. It's just like, just be interesting. I don't care. Like, oh my fucking God. You know? Ugh.
You single-handedly just destroyed the secondhand value of a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
You like basically, like, I felt subtly compared watch dealers to drug dealers.
But you know what's funny though? Here's a somewhat of a, you know, a kind of a good observation. I think that the appeal of the G-Wagon, first of all, watch dealers love cloud. Everyone loves cloud. But think about it. Maybe I'm trying to make logic where there is none. But you're talking about a design that's been basically, give or take, the same since what, 1968. People who are into watches like designs that last. We do. Period. I don't particularly care for designs that come in out similar to a 911. Right? It's a good design. It has been for a long, long time. So that's probably the logic behind it. And I'll tell you that, like, all like smart, like, but really it's just clout. Like, you hope you pick up bitches. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
Can I say something? Because I'm fresh on my car knowledge here. I just bought a car.
Yeah, what car do you have? What car do you have, Jacqueline?
I will bet you $1,000 she has a G-Wagon.
Yeah. Why do you think
I 50 or 63?
I gotta like protect what we just said, right? Like, I gotta toot the horn of the G-Wagon. So there's the classic design, right? There's a history behind it. And B, and people always say cars are the worst investment, and cars are the worst investment. But if you look at the depreciation rate of all the cars right now, you cannot compete with the G-Wagon. Like, if you were to buy one car that is going to depreciate on like a percentage wise.
We're all drinking the same syrup, Jacqueline. I'm with you, babe.
It has to be, it just doesn't have a competitive, it just doesn't have a competitor.
It's safe money, babe.
Right. So there you go. I'm just going to leave it there. That's why I didn't say anything when you guys were talking about it. I wanted to hear what you wanted to say before.
No, I'm with you, believe me.
How much you guys were going to diss on me. I'm not the Russian mob. I'm not a watch dealer, but I just love that car, man.
But you have one of those jackets though, right? With all the watches inside. For you.
I do.
And going into this conversation, I totally know Jacqueline just got one because she posted a sneaky photo on her story. Okay, I totally knew that.
Yeah.
Like, I also know it's like her second one, so.
Okay, moving on.
Rinsed.
Yeah, moving on. Okay, another question that I was wondering about, right, is dude, like, it's nobody can deny the fact that you have built a successful platform to sell watches. Even though you don't like the title of watch dealer, whatever you put on the website will sell. And I was doing some research, right? Like, I was scrolling through the Theo and Harris inventory, the sold inventory. You've sold some weird stuff on there. You've sold like Gucci loafers or like Gucci bags. Like, you've sold some stuff that aren't watches. So whatever you list there, there's an audience for it because you have a fan base, you have an audience base for your content. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like, if I were in your shoes, I would have thought this way. If I were just starting this business and I'm trying to make a living, going back to survival mode, I'm trying to make money to buy food and everything, I would be so happy. It's like getting the end of the month results and how much I made in each month. But was there a point in time during the 6 years of Theo and Harris where you realized, hey, the platform works? Like, I no longer need to clench my fist to see if this guy buys it or not. It's going to sell. So has that excitement of selling watches faded over time? And if it has, what replaces that excitement now?
Totally. Okay, so I mentioned the October after I graduated. So the following December, we had just the biggest month ever, right? For me, we made more money that month than I had ever anticipated. Period and whatever. And I enjoyed it for about 2 minutes. Legitimately, did not care about it at all. It meant nothing to me. I feel better when we produce a really good film than I did when we made X amount of dollars in a month, whatever. Period. End. And the film could make me a quarter of it. And it's not like money doesn't matter, because it so fucking matters. Not the point. But self-fulfillment matters a hell of a lot as well. And when we produce something that's truly incredible, we're working on a Grand Seiko film right now that I am like just living through. It comes out on December 22nd, and I'm just like I couldn't be more excited. Making $200,000 from now until December 22nd wouldn't make me feel as good. And that sounds crazy, but I swear that's true. That will actually feel like it's like an accomplishment, like a real legitimate accomplishment.
I feel like from this interview, because this is actually for all my listeners, the first time I'm engaging Christian. You don't really you're constantly moving. And by the speed that which you talk, I guess your mind is like constantly just blasting away with ideas and constantly moving forward. So whether it's people or bad news or failing or whatever it is, you just seem to get over it very, very. Like I would guess that you would get over these things very quickly, whether they're positive or not or negative. Is that how you are?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. And it's like it's a little weird sometimes, I mean, I've been dealt some incredible blows personally, losses, not financial, but like personal losses, and it is weird, It doesn't. It sounds like I sound like a psychopath, but it's not like, oh, I don't care. Not true at all. But it's unbelievable how quickly I emotionally handle or logically handle something. It's probably one of the few things that I'm really, really good at. I think maybe I'm good at like two things, like legitimately, and that's probably one of them. It's weird.
Second one's probably reading, right?
No.
I was gonna say, no wonder he goes on so many bad dates, because he's just like, that's just another one.
Yeah, it's probably true. It's that and I love, almost more than anything, I love going out to dinner. I love it. I love great restaurants. I love great wine. That's like, I love it. I would have 2 watches if it could guarantee that I could have all the dinners I want, not that I want to make that sacrifice, but I would. So I'll take out basically anybody, the screening process isn't very, rigorous, I go in knowing this isn't going to work. I'm hungry. So you want to go to, I don't know, where you want to go to Maria?
No one's ever said that. No one's ever said that to me like that. But now I think about it, yeah, I can't say I'm that much different. You could drag me through the coals, but if you say the right words, and it could be as simple as the Golden Arches. You've got me.
My mother goes, it sounds like such a fucking classic, like Italian, person talking about their mother all the time. I never do this, but you guys made me all the time. She goes, but you got to settle down. What are you doing? Oh, this one, that one, this one is in the Bronx. That one's in Queens. So what are you doing? You got to find somebody over here. A nice girl.
Does she actually speak like that?
No, that's my voice for her, though.
You know what? She sounds like she's Chinese. But talking about the platform that you've created, and you put a lot of watches on there. You obviously sell watches. What's it like creating stuff that you know you're not wholly into it, but you know it will sell? And even when you were into it, you've sold so many. You're like, oh fucking hell, it's another Submariner. It's another Datejust. Like, is it becoming a bit of a chore? Is it mind numbing a little bit?
Oh, it's totally mind numbing. I again, there is no intellectual stimulation for me to selling watches. Absolutely none. Zero. That's why I read so much now, even though I never read as a kid, but that's why I read so much. I wake up and read basically from 6 to 7:45 every morning, just because I know unless I'm doing short film work or creative work, I won't think basically for the rest of the day. I'll just make jokes and I'll bullshit and I'll sell watches. So boring. Like, again, life could be worse, but I like to be challenged. I like, thought-provoking, interesting things. I studied Catholic studies in college, and I'm not even religious. I studied it because I thought it was going to be one of the most difficult, intellectually stimulating, challenging majors I could possibly find, and I was right. So that's I love that. And it's probably what draws me to the media end of the business. It's just tougher. But no, selling a Datejust, selling a Submariner, it's selling something that everyone already wants. Everyone already wants it. So what's the big? It's like selling gas. You think the guy that sells you gas feels emotionally and intellectually challenged after you ring up $40 regular, or in Jacqueline's case, $190 supreme? No.
Oh my god!
I mean, it sounds like the dealing was one of the first ways for you to kind of monetize and get you something, but actually it's not your final destination. Like this road of self-fulfillment, almost self-discovery, pushing yourself to uncomfortable areas, because I always think that learning experiences are generally not comfortable, are more mentally stimulating, and you really need that. Like, I get the feeling you really need your mind mentally stimulated, even through like the fact that you I understand how you feel, because I do a lot of them as well, like those watch community meets, how already mind numbing, and there's no really other way to say it, right? Sometimes it is complete bullshit, right? Complete bullshit. Like, you do come out of that and think, oh, I've just wasted 2 to 3 hours of my life, right?
Oh yeah.
How that has not enough for you. No, I'm not doing it. I need more.
Yeah, absolutely. Period.
Guys, I've never been to a watch meet before, and you're just killing everything for me right now.
No, Jacqueline, if you're with the right people, it could be fantastic. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, if you and I did dinner with a couple of people in New York City, with people that I said, hey, this is going to be cool, it's great. And guess what? If it's a 3-hour dinner, we're going to talk about watches for an hour and a half, and the rest is going to be about how interesting someone found it that you know what I mean? Like, it's just different. Yeah. You meet on a personal level, or you meet on watches, and then you engage further on just life.
Exactly. Dan and I were talking about this the other day, how 99% of the interactions online are basically just meaningless, because you reach out to each other talking about watches. Oh, hey, cool piece that you picked up, but you never connect on a personal level. It's after you get to know each other better that you actually talk about real life. And then you realize, hey, we stopped talking about watches a long time ago, but it was something that sparked our conversation, but we've moved on so much further away from that because we have made a connection, which is so much rarer.
The relationship goes from, this is the person, like, we talk about watches, to, that's Jacqueline. If I want to talk about watches, I can call her, but we talk about a lot of stuff, like, if I want to talk about cardiac, I can call you. Sure, you're a resource we can talk about for fun.
Yeah.
But it's much more importantly, we can speak about, even if it's within watches, the industry. That's far more interesting sometimes than talking about the crash for the 1100th time. Even though I love it, I love that watch. I would kill for one. But as far as building a relationship, you're not going to come to love me, and I won't come to love you talking about whether or not Salvador Dali was the inspiration. You come to build a relationship through just deeper conversation.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree.
I totally agree.
The watches
The
are
watches are
a means to
a
make
means
friends,
to make friends,
and to some point
to
offer a foundation.
offer a foundation.
But they're not like anything to cement a relationship, I guess.
Yeah.
I can hear myself. No, I can't. No, it's much
No,
better.
there's a
Okay.
little bit of echo.
For a second there, I did, but no,
Yeah.
it's not anymore.
All right, I'll say it again because we'll cut that part out. But the relationship's built on through watches, because it's through a mutual hobby. It's always a great way to meet friends. It's like any other hobby. But just because you're into watches doesn't mean like we are automatically going to get on. There's certainly sub niches of people that like watches. They have a particular personality. But certainly it doesn't mean that you have a decent moral compass or anything like that. So
and you
and
get
life
to
experience as well.
What's funny about the watch community is not to throw shade at other communities, but the watch community is split basically into two groups of people. People who are into watches because they are intelligent and interested in design and history and mechanics, and then those who are simply in it for clout, right? But those who are in it for kind of intelligent reasons see through the bullshit very, very quickly. I can only talk to someone on the other side for a short period before, oh my God, like I just can't do this anymore. And you look around and you can tell who's who. And really, the intelligent people outnumber, at least at the meetups, they outnumber the superficial, I think, for sure.
I wouldn't be so sure. Maybe I'm hanging around with the wrong group. But
maybe I'm being nice.
Yeah, I think you're being nice. I think when you talk about superficial and throwing
honestly,
clout,
you know what? In retrospect, you're right. I was being nice. I was trying to be PC. You're right.
yeah, like don't you find that those ambiguous stories about where you got your money and all this kind of shit? Yeah, they get repeated. Like there's only so much creativity in those stories.
Listen, we're living in a really weird time where like to have money is like evil. And I fundamentally don't understand it. It was one of like the first things I like looked into and tried to like from political level, and social. I think that it's the most moronic ideology going. But if we're among, friends, why are we so embarrassed? Why is someone embarrassed to be wearing a $30,000 watch? Why are they, or 50,000? I don't care. It's fantastic. Good for you. Salud. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. Is someone here like angry at this? And if they are, they should leave. Like, get the fuck out. Like for real. It's so bizarre to me. It's so bizarre.
I do find it really weird when I get a lot of so they'll say to me, what do you do? And I'll just be like, okay, I'm like running a securities brokerage. What about you? And they'll be like, I'm in finance, which makes me really excited. So I'm like, what do you do in finance? And they're like, finance. And then
they manage a trust
fund. Which is
fine. Like why don't we just say that? Like, hey, like, no, honestly, I have a friend that's he's a real estate like billionaire or something like that, and he and I call him out on it. He refuses to just say, honestly, nothing. Honestly. And everyone in the group knows he's full of shit, and he makes up stories, and we're all like, dude, nobody cares. You're a nice guy. Like, everyone likes you. Why are you lying? No one believes you. Like, it's cool. Like, it's fucking cool. Like, you're in the city. You're not in Omaha. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone.
Right. What's on the next on the menu?
Yeah.
Well, I was recently reading one of your IG Q&As that you were doing on your own personal account.
Yep.
And one of the questions someone asked you was, will you ever consider selling Theo and Harris? And your answer to that question was definitely, just depends on when. So I was wondering, like what made you think of that, and is that, what point of time is that in the next kind of the pipeline, and also what will you do after if you weren't focus on Theo and Harris?
Really good question. I think that the right answer is, you sell your company when you're no longer the best CEO, right? When someone else could do a better job than you can, and it's worth something, you leave. That's the answer. That being said, there is truth there, but I think that the larger answer is I know the path to build a really, really incredible small media agency, at least right now in this moment. Maybe in 3 years I'll understand how to do more than that, right? But right now I don't. Right now I really know how to build a, let's say, 3-product agency, that can be not just very profitable, but actually pretty fucking important. That I get. But I don't know how to build a $50 or $100 million company. I just don't know how, right? So at a certain point, someone, first of all, I've been offered money to sell the company for the last 3 years, all the time. People want to be in watches. But there's a couple point where I could say, okay, I don't deserve the keys to this car. I just don't. I mean, so someone else can do this faster, better, they'll make more money. I'll get my parachute out and I'll go do something else. I'll do something I'm better at, right? So what is that? And maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit. It's possible. I think I am, and I think I'm just focused. I'm a storyteller, right? Period, end. I know how to integrate product into a beautiful story. There are many very, very creative people, and they can make a beautiful film out of a poem. And that's fucking great. Who's paying for it? Right? I know how to put product into a beautiful story, right? So that's what I'll go do. I'll go do it in finance. I'll go do it in pharma. Pharma is heavily regulated. I'm already looking into it. It's very difficult. Mm-hmm. I'll do it in finance. I'll do it in pharma. I'll do it in insurance. I'll do it in all those things. That's the future. Period. And maybe that's why I'll end up working for somebody someday. Maybe I'll go in-house at Goldman. I don't know. It doesn't. Who cares? Who knows? But maybe you just go in-house and you say, okay, I'm a salary guy now, and I have full creative autonomy. Basically, I have 98% creative autonomy, and they trust me, and that's it. Maybe, or maybe I start another agency. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny you're talking about like the storytelling, because I think it's like that's actually like one of the last questions here, but. You drive traffic to your e-commerce site through very effective storytelling, and all brands now, they are pretty much establishing their e-commerce sites. You can buy watches on their own sites. But what I found is, like, considering they have so much story, they're so shit at it. Like, it's literally, here's the product, by the way. Oh, here's a lifestyle shot. With the consumer now, where they're so they have access to knowledge so quickly, and they are very educated, they could do way more on creating a much more convincing brand story with more stickiness than what they're doing now. Like, basically, do you agree?
The product we sell, and we are, and I'm not saying we're not just the best at it, we're basically the only people selling that product. Right. And to add a little bit more color there, there's a couple of reasons. One is because, let's talk about Hodinkee. Why would Hodinkee sell a very complex and expensive product when they could sell a cheaper product for more money? Right? If the brand doesn't demand more storytelling, why offer it? Right? The people that are at the helms of these marketing agencies, the companies, they're not very good at it.
Yeah.
Maybe they will be in the next 3 years, but they're not. They may fancy themselves very good at it. They may tell their CEOs they're very good at it, but they're not. So if the guy signing my check doesn't really have a very high standard, why would I work harder?
Do you also think that there's a lot of people in the brands that don't even know the watches themselves? So they couldn't say that this is good content, this is good storytelling, because to be honest, I'm here just fitting a stopgap job here to get my payment, right? I just need to hit these KPIs on social media as a marketing agency,
Yep.
right? They can hit these figures, and that's all I have to achieve. I'm not looking to rock the boat or change anything because that's all I'm getting paid for. And to be honest, I can't critique the content anyway.
You're 100% right. And I tell people, all the time, kind of while I criticize that, I tell people that work at these corporations the same thing all the time on a friend-to-friend level. Why do you care? You're not being paid to care. You're being paid to fulfill the KPI, move on. Why do you care more? And yet I'm the same guy that criticizes the people that are doing that when they do it to me. So it's the truth. I mean, it's just human nature. We want to do as little as possible. Many people want to do as little as possible
To get the
get their
maximum
job
effect.
done,
Yeah.
go home, watch a movie, whatever. But just don't, and that's fine. I get that. Listen, I get it. Just don't tell me you're that good at your job. Let's not compare ourselves. Let's not. You're just a guy doing a job for somebody else. You're getting paid good money. Don't say that we're on the same level, because we're not. And that's where I get pissed off. When I talk to, we've talked, right now we're in business with Grand Seiko, Blancpain, Jacques Dro, Breguet, Laurent Ferrier. We're in business with I think we have 9 brand partners right now, right? And this all happened in the last quarter. The middle of Q3 to Q4, that's when this has happened. I'm the luckiest guy in the world, right? I could literally, so it's not big history of success, it's recent, right? And everyone, barring one company, everyone has said, we admit we don't know. We are looking for someone to actually put work in. Maybe you're that person. It seems like you could be, and we want to take a shot. No one's kissing ass, but no one's pretending to be God. And yet I hit one company, and maybe I'll sign them in Q1. I think it's rather likely. I think that put it this way, either they're going to sign in Q1 for X, or they're going to sign in Q3 for 2X. And out of spite, if nothing else, just out of spite. Okay. But there are some people that look at the disruptors, people that are creating something that challenges what they've been doing for a while, as an insult, as a direct implication that they haven't been doing a good job already, right? When you're selling a new product, the direct implication is that the current product isn't good. What you're currently doing is not good, So I had a conversation just last week with a brand exec that just did not, I don't think wanted to take accountability at all for bad content. Now, I'm not saying the accountability falls completely on the back of the brand. They're the ones paying, but it also falls on the back of the content creators. It does. There's shared accountability. I'm not saying you're an idiot, but I'm saying you made a bad call. There are two different things, and that's another thing. I mean, I just loathe when people just aren't able to admit, you know what, I made a bad call. You're right. That was a bad move. Bad move. I get it. Bad campaign.
Yeah. I mean, there's the thing with Theo and Harris is you've demonstrated to get for my kind of limited experience with Swiss watch brands is that for them to admit that they're not doing a good job is for you to do a better job that is evidently clear with results such as sales, right? And you can throw a very convincing model of, I only had this, but I've achieved this, and you have all of this, and you've achieved less than me, right?
And
then they
you're
look
right,
at it.
but the problem is they compare the success. They gauge success in very inconsistent ways, right? Brands have spent millions, probably tens of millions of dollars on paper ads, on billboards, on TV ads, and they've never been able to say this dollar came from that ad. And yet they look at a video campaign, and they say, how much money did it make us? Right? And I say, what a joke! What a joke! You're an idiot. Do you not? And I'm just, I'm a good salesperson, but I have very little patience for stupidity. And I say, do you see how inconsistent you're being? Do you see that you went to the touchdown and then you fell? You fell at the 4-yard line. You don't see the next 4 yards. You don't get it. You don't get it. And that happens constantly. So listen, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic about the marketing execs. I think that a lot of watch brands have brought in people from other industries that are they have less, let's say, political ties in the watch business, and they're just interested in being disruptors. That's good. I spoke to a young woman just last week who is atypical in her space. And she was the most forward-thinking, ad person, the marketing director for a watch company I spoke to yet from Swatch. And I said, wow, she gets it. Like, she really gets it. A lot of these women and men, mostly men, just because most industries men don't. They're pretending to. They're feigning understanding. She gets it. She's going to drive this home. So we're gonna see. I mean, again, I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I hope there's more people like you that can do this in the industry, because one person that comes to mind is Jean-Claude Beaver, right? In a time where and he is like obviously a genius in lots of areas, but also when you look at the competition around him, it's not like so stiff. Like he was like perhaps the only Swiss guy with some character and some charm and some marketing.
Totally.
And some guts to actually do it. Like even he describes himself as a hippie, and in that kind of crowd, he just stood out, right? And he could see through a lot of stuff. That, I mean, I say to a lot of also friends that the watch industry is built by a lot of people that feign wealth, like at least on trying to understand wealth, trying to sell these watches to people that actually have wealth, right? There is a total disconnect on understanding the consumer, and you cannot get all of the full picture by looking at numbers.
What you just said, they're trying to understand wealth. You know what they're missing? Humanity. They totally miss that what touches wealthy people is the same thing that touches poor people. Different product, same emotional connection. We could sell a piece of cheese the same way we do a breguet tradition, right? With love, right? With a lot of love, with a lot of just like I'm working on a project right now with breguet that it happens to be very paternal. It happens.
Is
to
it
be
around cheese?
No, it's not. But it remains like people forget. For example, Patek's famous ad, you don't ever own a Patek Philippe. You just hold it for the next generation or something.
Yeah.
It was a good ad, right? It was a good, catchy ad, right? But a film could capture the humanity of that ad way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah.
Right?
And that kind of ad, like you said, applies to whatever person you are. That,
100%.
you would want to do that no matter how much money you have. It's not actually the watch. It's about passing something on to your next generation. There's a great
example. The moment that I realized, and I know I'm not trained in marketing, I know nothing about it, right? The moment that I realized that the watch industry was way behind in marketing was when an ad for I believe it was Swedish supermarket went viral. And I'll send it to you. And maybe in German or Swedish, whatever. Not whatever. Those are two different things. But long story short, it was like a holiday weekend. Grandpa was waiting for his kids to come. They didn't come. They came eventually with everything from this supermarket. It sounds bad synopsis, but the way that they filmed this little ad was so touching. It wasn't informative, right? It was just touching, and it went viral. I said, if a fucking supermarket could make me feel something, why can't Blancpain? Blancpain is way more emotional. There's way more to work with. A supermarket is selling milk. Like they sell milk and mac and cheese and bread.
Yeah, this is exactly my point. Because if you go into the archives, and there must be fucking tons of stories down there that, if delivered in the right way, will just fucking touch everybody. But no, we're going to spin the same fucking story over and over and over again, right? Because it worked in like, I don't know, 30 years ago. So yeah, it should work now. Okay.
Like, okay, like, come on, you know. So and it is a challenge, you know, but or it has been, but seeing the brand stuff. Grand Seiko is a great example. Grand Seiko is experiencing exponential growth in the American market, exponential growth. And I can't think of a brand that deserves it more. Their product is one thing. Their product is fantastic.
Yeah.
Of course, it deserves more attention. But fuck the product. Put the product aside. Their team is so open to new things. It's amazing. It's a traditional Japanese company that, by all logic, is a conservative company. And yet that company truly understands, okay, we're still small in the United States market. We cannot get caught up in corporate bullshit. We need to be fast. We need to be nimble. We need to be creative. Who are the people that can help us do that? And that's why Grand Seiko was the first brand to give us a shot. Like the first brand. And I happen to love their watches. I happen to love the videos we produce. Like I said, the 22nd, you got to see it. It's going to be unbelievable. But I just respect again, and maybe this is irrelevant, who runs the whole marketing division? Another woman that wasn't in watches before, right? An outside person that's coming in to like this boys game of fraternity and secrecy and bullshit and feigning understanding. And yet there's this outsider that comes in and is like, no, that's cool. Let's do that. I want to do that. That sounds really cool. I think I believe in that. And they just do it. They're like, okay, here's the money. Do it. No, where is it? You know, that's amazing.
Yeah. I've worked with Grand Seiko as well in China, and it's pretty much exactly how you said it. Like from decision making to actually execution is fucking seamless. Like it's so fast. Within the lots of the other industry, like the Swiss side, it's a lot more bureaucratic. There's a lot more layers to get through, and a lot more irrelevant bullshit layers to get through. Like there are a lot of people that sometimes I just feel like you don't need to be there. Like, where did they make this position up?
I don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
I pitched a film to I can't be specific because the guy legitimately will get in trouble. You know, the guy will get in trouble. But I pitched a film to a brand, a Swiss brand, just last month. A film that it's scheduled for I won't even say 2021 release. Fantastic film. I send script for brand approval, right? I want them to tell me no on something if there's something to say no to, just so I don't produce it and then they tell me no. So I sent it to them and he responded, on a call, I should send this to Switzerland. I'm not going to, right? Nothing in this script is untrue, nothing. Everything is, they won't object to anything. But if I submit it, it will take 3 months to get approved.
Yeah.
I'm like, now that's a businessman, right? Taking the risk on your back, saying, you know what, they're not going to say anything. And if they do, it's on me. Don't worry about it. Like that guy gets things done. But many people aren't ready for that.
And I also think,
surround yourself with in a creative space, people who are willing to first of all, making the distinction between risk and like recklessness, right? He's willing to take a risk, a creative risk, for a better result, knowing how much corporate bullshit there is and unnecessary time waste that's in this whole thing. But that's rare, I would guess. I'm
100%. And the film, and another one of like the interesting parts of the film is about, so I think the script is 400 words, right? Which is a fairly small script, right? From 400 words. 300 words are not about the brand. 300 words are about the era from which the brand was birthed, right? It lays the foundation for our future partnerships. It's much more interesting. That's the way you open up a partnership. And he said, if I send this, they're not going to object to the facts. They're going to object to the word count, right? If we're paying for it, why is it mostly about something else, right? I'm like, he goes, but to have a creative explain it to the corporate will never work. It'll never work. He goes, just make the film, send it to them. They're going to love it. They're not even going to realize. And that's it. We're going to do it. I was like, great, let's do it. I'm in. I'm in. I don't care. I'm in.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay, let's round this up.
Yeah. So
Good.
last question. Tell us a little bit about the behind the scenes of this creative like script writing process, because like I'm curious. I'm sure everyone else listening to this are curious as well. How does it happen? A brand approaches you as a partnership, wanting to storytell, and
So
what goes on from
again,
there? Like, how's the magic work?
We signed Grand Seiko last December. We signed nobody until this September, and then in September till now, we've signed 8 people, right? Eight different major brands, right? So this is all very new to me. So when anything I say, understand that this is not 5 years of business practice. This is all very new. Brands reach out, right? I haven't cold called yet. Right? I will, I have to, but I really don't want to. Brands reach out and say, hey, we want to produce something. I say, great. What are you interested in storytelling about? What is the product you're looking to push? What is the message? In a sentence, don't be verbose. That's my job. In a sentence, what do you want to communicate? They tell me, great. In the words, I said I'm a jazz fan, and if anyone else here is a jazz fan. In the words of Stanley Crouch, who's a jazz critic that famously listened to Miles Davis's Britches Brew and hated it. He goes, I listened to it sober, I listened to it high, I listened to it very high, and I hated it every time, right? I'll think about the film in the morning on a run. I'll think about the film at lunch, hungry. I'll think about it full. I'll think about it drunk. I'll think about it with a woman, without a woman. I think about it in all these different kinds of ways. I make a point to actually think about it in all these different points. And over the course of 2 or 3 days, I figure out what is actually touching here, right? What is actually going to hit someone and say, whoa. And usually it's not just the finishing, right? It's why do you finish that way? Grand Seiko isn't just beautiful because they do Zaratsu. That's cool. Who cares, right? That's just cool. It's beautiful because the only reason they pay that much attention to detail is because they come from a culture that pays attention to detail, because they are born from Japanese culture. That's cool. That's something people get behind, whether they're from Oklahoma or, Paris. That's cool, So I take that concept, I write a brief outline of a script. I usually don't even share it. I send them a proposal, just let's say a 4-sentence explanation of the concept, 5 sentences, and they say yes or no. So far, they've said yes. I'm sure I'll get a no soon. And then I produce it. I ask for nothing, like nothing. Because these short films only work if they're no more work for the marketing people. If it becomes a task for them, the whole concept is out the window. They want to just sign off and then pay. They don't care, So we produce the whole thing, and I send them the video or the film 1 week before I'm publishing it. Yeah, period, end.
And why does
So
the film
interesting.
go on your channel and not their channel?
Good question. So when we pitch them, everything is shared ownership. Everything. They own everything that we own, and they actually own. They have a lot more that we never publish. But some brands choose to share, some brands don't. We did a partnership with Accutron that was, I would say, and you could be the judge if you disagree with me. Then I'd love to hear it. Accutron did very few partnerships in the watch business or the media business in their launch. We were the best. Absolutely. I stand by that, completely. But they shared. Some brands don't, right? Period end,
The Accutron short film, I watched it. It was really short, but it was touching, man. It was
the first film that Michael produced.
Yeah.
So that was like a thing, He came on October 3rd. We shot that October 8th. That was quick,
He's so talented. The perspective he took of the kid, it was so touching. It was something that I wish I could have relate to, because like I didn't grow up around watches, but watching that film, it made me think what it would have been like if I were that little boy in the video growing up with a watch that like would light up and move in that way. And it's just nostalgic, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Touching. Cool. That was my little cousin, by the way. He's really handsome, isn't he?
Oh, are you serious? I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah, but one anecdote before I let you go, before you just let me go, whatever. So I was at a family party. I had this concept for the Accutron. They agreed to work with us on a Thursday. I saw him on a Saturday, and I didn't have the concept yet. I didn't understand the brand enough. I just didn't have the script, nothing. But I said, I know that this is about futurism, and futurism lives no more, I don't know. Futurism is in children, right? Little boys and girls. That's who imagines the future, not me, right? That's not Elon Musk, a little child, right? And I said to him, he's a handsome little kid. And I said, hey, shit stick. He's 11, so we curse at each other. It's cute, we're cursing friends, he'll text me, hey, bitch, it's great. I hope his parents aren't listening, but hey, shit stick, I need you for a film. It's going to get, 15, 20,000 views. It's going to be the best film that the brand produces. And I'll pay you for it. And before the sentence was longer, he goes, how much? I said, whoa, relax. Anyway, he negotiated the shit out of me. And then when we were done negotiating, he got cold feet strategically. Good kid, my cousin, totally done this for me. And he goes, wait, this is going to be a long day of work. I said, yeah. He goes, well, you're gonna need to throw in lunch. I said, okay, I'll throw in lunch. He goes, what is it? He goes, I want a $100 lunch budget in chicken wings. I said, his name's Luca. I said, Luca, do you know how much $100 goes, how far $100 goes in chicken wings? He goes, I know exactly how far $100 goes in chicken wings. Anyway, I was able to sign him.
Yeah. This is incredible. You're getting your whole family involved in this.
Family biz.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. I know you guys would run, but thank you guys so much, for having me on. Jacqueline, I know I took your pod virginity, but I hope it was nice for you, because it was nice for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you did. And for those who are listening, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode with Christian, make sure you go and check out his YouTube channel, Theo and Harris. Follow him on Instagram at Theo and Harris, and his personal Instagram at Christian Jerome. And also, don't forget to follow us on the Waiting List podcast on Instagram. And we'll tune in next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Christian.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm squashed.
Are you
Thank you
drunk?
again. For real though, guys, for real, this was awesome. You guys were hysterical. I do a lot of these and they usually suck. So no, this is actually really great. Jacqueline, especially to Jacqueline, thank you so much. For real. I know I said this on the phone, but really, this was so nice of you.
No, I'm glad that you enjoyed this. Again, it was like you're one of the few people that I ever met, if not the only person in the watch industry that I ever met in person. I still remember like us meeting up in New York just out of a whim, and had a good 2-hour chat before I went to my friend's house for dinner. So it was amazing. It was amazing.
Well, I still owe you dinner, and let's catch you up maybe on Monday. Let's talk watches briefly and other things for much longer.
See, that's now that I know you're probably just going to be taking me out for dinner because you want the food and you're hungry.
Oh, you don't apply to the I take anybody out.
Amazing. Guys, make sure like in the future, I don't know, Dan, like if you ever want to collaborate with Christian again, just like reach out to him.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, no, follow me on Instagram. I'll follow you back or whatever, and we'll DM. You're a funny guy. And you too. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Long.
She's called
long.
iPhone.
Long.
She's called
Long,
iPhone.
long.
Yeah.
long.
Oh, it is iPhone. I just realized.
This is iPhone.
That is
yeah.
my name.
Yeah, that's
I
her
was
iPhone.
going to
iPhone,
say
yeah.
that before, and then I
Yeah.
said I was going to say long, and then I said to
Yeah.
myself, "Is that a prejudice name? It starts with a made of my head, because that could have been a name I made of my head." And I'm going to be so embarrassed if I say that, and she
Right.
thinks I'm being prejudiced.
Nah.
Wait,
All right.
hold on. Before you go, Chris, I actually have a quick fire round. So no thinking here. I have a few questions. You give me whatever you think, okay? So
Done.
first question, Rolex or Cartier?
Cartier.
Wine or Cartier Sark?
Cartier.
Interesting. If you weren't living in New York, where would you be living in?
New Jersey.
That doesn't count. Come on, give me another answer.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Come on, seriously?
The guy lives
Rome.
at home,
Oh.
man. You wouldn't be able to get him out the front door.
It's foreign, abroad, probably Rome.
Rome. Okay, cool. Grill watch.
1815 chrono.
Oh.
Ooh, which metal?
Rose. I don't do white.
Mm,
Unless it's a date, then I do.
yeah. Biggest pet peeve when it comes to watches.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in general. I was going to say people who have strong opinions and no information to back it up. Oh my God.
Or that.
Biggest pet peeve in watches. When people wear, okay, I'm actually doing this right now, so excuse me. But people who wear a watch that absolutely is totally out of character with their wardrobe, it makes no sense to me. You know, it makes no sense. You know.
Right. So you're wearing a Bulgari tank style.
I am.
watch.
I'm wearing Adidas track pants, and I'm wearing a diamond Bulgari.
Okay. What's one dish?
I took a girl out last week from Bulgari, and because now I'm at the point where I'm dating sales associates, and it's what a cliche, right? What a fucking cliche. And she goes, "So you're a big Bulgari fan?" I said, I haven't worn my Bulgari a lot. Now I've been wearing my Bulgari the last couple of days. So I posted it today, and we probably won't go out again. Maybe we will. I don't know. And she was like, "Oh my God, like, are you subtweeting me by wearing that watch?" I was like, "No, I really wasn't. I swear."
That's next level geekiness. Like, watch it late girl pursuit, man.
I know.
Yeah. What's one dish that you make at home that's an absolute killer?
Oh, I'm a really, really fucking good cook. Carbonara.
Okay. For those who don't know what that is.
Carbonara is so it's usually a spaghetti with pancetta or guanciale, onion if you want, usually not, cheese and an egg.
You would say it's better than Carbone's?
So I went to Carbone and I had a horrible experience. I went to Carbone and the people that I was with. Are we being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay, we're being
Wait,
recorded.
we
Okay,
can
never
cut
mind.
it out though.
Okay,
Yeah.
cut out the part where I say are we being recorded, because then if they hear this, they're going to think that I was divulging this privately.
Yeah.
Anyway, with very, very important people, way, way, way above my weight class, not even close. And they said that you can resume here. So I'm at Carbone, and someone said, to the waiter, bring whatever wine you want. And the waiter brought just 3 bottles of wine you're not supposed to recommend unless you disclose. Just ridiculously expensive wine. And I said, that is a jerk off move. Okay, fine. You got us for the money this time, but you're an asshole. Like, you're just an asshole, you know? I hate bad service.
And you're just not going to go back again because they did that, most likely.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to go back because one waiter did me wrong. Yeah.
That would have been like a turnoff for me.
I think I'll never date a girl from Chicago again because I had a bad experience one time.
Okay. Next bucket list travel destination, if you could choose.
I'm thinking about business. I'm going to fucking Miami in January. I don't care about that, you know. But it's business. That's all that's top of my mind.
Right. Okay. There's stone crab claws. You gotta eat tons of those.
You gotta get them, yeah.
Yeah. Someone you'd like to collaborate with for a video.
I would love to do a video with, with Waco. First of all, the production that Revolution does is not as good as it should be. Their content is great, like they're written and stuff like that. I think that they're just a little bit lazy on video, and I've offered Way multiple times. I'll do it for free. Just let me do it. Like, it'll like be on my resume. It's cool. I would love if Waco's listening to this. Waco again. I would love to produce a video for you. I will give you a budget up to $10,000 that I will produce. That includes travel. That includes my employees, everybody. I want to produce a video for you. You don't even have to buy me a bottle of wine. I just want to say I did it. Okay?
Wait, come on. Hit him up. Hit him up.
Fucking anyway.
Yeah.
Put it in the format description so you might see it.
Yeah.
Of this podcast. Yeah, we'll take a 3% commission.
No, I was gonna say, since he doesn't want the payment, we'll just take it for him.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
That will be exactly
You
exactly
can have
those
$30,000 I would have otherwise billed him, motherfucker.
No, we'll be exactly those absolutely meaningless middle management companies that just act as a go-between, just to take the money and actually not do a lot.
Yeah.
No, we'll be the guy that hit you up in the DM and was like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I lead people to buy stuff. I am the middle. I am the chauffeur."
No, I'm not a watch dealer.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your honest thought about this upcoming Paul Newman Daytona again on the Phillips auction?
Absolutely stupid. I mean, listen, they've thought about it more than I have. They understand more of this sale than I do. So I have full confidence that they're making the right decision. Nothing that I know about this leads me to believe this is a good call. Nothing.
Right.
Why would you do this? Why would you take all the fire from it? I think it's for press. Forbes, everyone's going to cover it. Forbes will cover it. This one will cover it. Blah 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 blah. Get a ton of press. That's great. Good for them. Listen, if it's a good call, it's a good call. Salute. But I don't know. To me, it's such a fart. Such a dud.
Or maybe if they don't take it, the person's going to go to another auction house, and they don't want another auction house to steal the fire.
But all the more reason. We got the Paul Newman, and you got non-Paul Newman. Like it's like I got the hot sister, and what did you get? Oh, like, you know what I mean? Like Christie's would take it or something.
Yeah. Okay. Who is someone you look up to when it comes to style?
Good question.
Come on, quick.
It's probably some cartoon because like he looks like he watches Nickelodeon or something. Yeah, and he gets his fashion sense from like SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Jacqueline, please tell him this is abnormal.
He's like the old man, exactly what he said, but a stylish.
Yeah, a style icon. I mean, I don't know. My style comes from so many places. I mean, but I think that anyone that went to Princeton circa 1962. There you go.
Hey, John Goldberger, he recommended you Belgian shoes.
He did. Oh, that was the coolest moment ever. And he's probably why I collect Belgian shoes.
Yeah. Okay.
Period.
And last question. Okay. When are you going to come to Asia?
Oh, I have more. People say, "Oh, do you do international business?" And I'm like, "Oh, of course I do." Then I remember, wait, I only do business in Asia. Asia's my only international. Like, really, like Asia and Australia. Those are the only places I do international business. It's unbelievable. I have so many phenomenal Asian clients. Hong Kong, Singapore, everywhere that I'm in constant contact with. I don't know why I haven't been. Obviously, COVID, but I really want to go.
You should go to Hong Kong and hit Dan and Lung up in Chester.
I really need to.
Have you been to Hong Kong?
No, I've never been. I've never been east of Milan.
Okay. Well, there's a Cabone in Hong Kong that we could take you to.
Yeah.
Well, I would love it.
It's one of those places you wouldn't like, though, because it's like,
yeah,
it's one of those places that well, I mean, you'll be there for the food because it looks like you just sell your soul for food. But I mean, it's one of those places which are very superficial. Like everybody's there to be seen to be there rather than like the real reason why you go to a restaurant to eat.
I'll tell you one more story before I go. I was at Oktoberfest with a friend. Something that I wanted to do, but something he really wanted to do. So we went all the way to Munich, and yeah, we had some fun. It was a great night. Great 2 nights. But the second night, we went to a club at 2:00 in the morning, which is late for me. I on weeknights I'm in bed by 9:15. Right, so 2:00 in the morning is late. So we go to this club. We ordered this. I didn't even know they made bottles of vodka this large. It was like a 4-foot tall bottle of vodka. No one can drink it. It was just for show, right? He got the bottle so we could get laid. I was just there for friendship, with him. You know what I mean? I was just there to be nice, So long story short, I'm standing there, and there were some people around. I'm smoking cigarettes because I'm in Europe. I'm feeling all kinds of cool. And this guy looks at me and he goes, "Christian, what's up?" And I said, "Who the fuck are you?" And he goes, "Theo and Harris. I'm a big watch guy." And he shows me his Patrizzi dial Zenith Daytona. And I was like, "You are fucking kidding me. Go over there. Come back over here, make a bigger deal out of recognizing me. Everyone at this party is going to think I'm the man." I said, you pulled me aside. You shouldn't have pulled me aside. You should have made a show of this. Anyway, we had a fantastic night. Went down in infamy, My friend Sam was like, "You made us celebrities. You made us so." I said, "It was all staged." To a degree, it was all staged.
Yeah.
Well, so you actually did it?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course he did.
Right.
It's the least he could do. How much free content has he watched? Oh God. Anyway, thank you guys again so much, for real.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christian, for all
Thank
your
you.
time. Had a great
Thank you,
time. And if I don't
Alright,
speak
we'll
to you
speak
before, have a very Merry Christmas and a safe one.
To all of you as well, for real. Enjoy it, holiday season. Jack, maybe Monday. Let me know if you have some time.
Yeah, let's take a call on Monday, and it's way past
All
your
right.
bedtime now. So
Everyone,
sleep.
please be in touch, okay? Please.
yeah, no, they'll hit you up. They'll hit you up for sure.
Okay.
Take care.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Waiting List podcast. Hit the subscribe button, and the next episode will come straight to your phone as soon as it's ready. Whilst I'm here, please remember to leave a nice review and follow us on Instagram at the Waiting List podcast.